Hello, friends. I'm back. I know I'm doing a lot of tags lately, but it can't really be helped. I came across this anti-TBR tag, and I thought this is something that I really want to try. um, it's basically books that you are not going to read, or you have no intention of reading, authors that you don't want to read, and so on. I've bought a lot of books lately, and so having sort of a counterbalance to that sounds like a lot of fun. So the question, first prompt is a popular book that everyone loves that you will never read. And this one was a simple choice for me. I can't really vibe with this is how you lose the time war by Amal Amatar and Max Gladstone. Everyone raved about this book, and it was marketed relentlessly among my peers and everywhere. Um, I got the sample on Kindle, and I tried to get into it. And for me, the although my writing is frequently called beautiful, I found that the beautiful prose was a stumbling block for me, that I just was not vibing with it at all. It seemed very artificial and sort of it was constantly pulling me out of the narrative. So I really don't see myself ever reading that book. So second question, a classic book or author you have no interest in. I'm not going to read anything by Elizabeth Gaskell. Even when I was studying Victorian literature, um, I just thought she was quite a nasty person, personally. And then, well, after I finished studying that era of literature, I really don't have any intention of returning to that. So I have so much else to read, it really doesn't seem like, I really can't tap into that. An author whose books you have no interest in reading. Okay, so this is going to be some tea. Rena Rosner. Um, where to start? Um, Rena Rosner is a writer, but she's also an agent. And it's her work as an agent that concerns me. I took part in a pitch war on Twitter where you pitch your current work and agents will respond to it and offer you representation. And this was the first time that I had actually had agents show interest in my work, so I was very excited about the whole thing. Um, Rena was one of the first, or perhaps no, she was the first that I sent my query to after she asked for a query, and she was very interested in the work. Now, after you can see publicly which agents have contacted the writers for a query. And this was how a mutual friend of ours, who's also a writer, got in touch with me. And they said that there was some concerns about the racism in particular of this particular agent. And they went into detail about how she has personally said anti-Palestinian things to my mutual friend, or our mutual friend, and also has exhibited like bigotry about intersex people. Um, but the biggest thing for me was that she is a Bat Ain supporter. Now, they are, you can look them up on Wikipedia. They are a particularly virulent, nasty Israeli settler organization. So one of the highlights is that they believe that Palestinians are mentioned in the Bible as being prophesied to be slaves. Um, that's just a highlight. So I I didn't realize that she wrote books as well as being an agent. I When I found out about this, I drew a red line under under that and said, no, I'm never going to read anything by this author. I have no intention. Um, I know that took a long. It was very rambly in that, but basically the gist: Rena Rosner has some problems with racism. An author you've read a couple of books from and decided they're not for you. So this was a falling out of love situation. I don't know how to pronounce this author's name. It's, I think, Jostein Goede. Um, anyway, the book I read in high school was Sophie's World, and it's a novel about the history of philosophy written for young adults, and it blew my mind at the time. We don't study philosophy in the Canadian school system, so it was like incredible. And I went on to read a couple of his other books, and it really, even at the time, felt like I was reading these books because I felt like I had to, since I had enjoyed Sophie's World so much. And I just did not vibe with them at all. And after a certain number of years, I just stopped buying his books. Now, recently, not too recently, but in 2006, when I was doing the research um, for this tag, I found out on Wikipedia that he has also said some anti-Semitic things after 2006 or so. He did try to make amends for that, and he regretted the things he said, but I don't really have any interest in reading any more of his work. So, okay. A genre that you have no interest in. I really don't have any interest in Canadian literary fiction. I think this comes mostly from grad school experiences. Like, they did not make it any, um, they did not entice me at all. And whenever Canada Reads comes around, it's very annoying to me because Canada Reads is like a game show where judges defend books to win. It's a marketing ploy, basically. And it's always racist every time. But Canadians get all patriotic about the fact that we have a game show about books. And a lot of the time, you'll have a very dull sounding book about um, people leaving the cares of the modern world by going out into nature and things like that. And it just doesn't vibe with me. A lot, that's a theme for this whole tag, is it doesn't vibe with me. um, a book you bought but will never read. I bought Apologia Pro Vita Sua by John Henry Newman. I bought this when I was in grad school, and it wasn't for a class. I had very different interests back then. So this is a book about a man who was responding to, I think they call it the Oxford movement, It had to do with the Anglican Church and like high Anglicanism, and um, not interested anymore. My interests have completely changed since then. So I haven't cracked it open. It's not going to happen. Okay, so question 7, a series you have no interest in reading or have DNF'd. I am very pro DNF. I don't have a lot of stamina, and so books and series that I don't enjoy, I have no problem with DNFing. So this is a series that I have DNF'd, and it's the Thursday Next series by Jasper Fforde. I really enjoyed it at the time. I read maybe 3 or 4, I think 3, yeah, of the books, starting with The Air Affair. And these are books that are about literary detectives that go into the world of books. That there's the well of lost plots where um, unfinished stories and ideas go, and it's all very fantastical, and it was enjoyable at the time. But I think that the tropes just kind of got a little thin over time, and I've lost interest in it. So that's my DNF series. And lastly, a new release you have no interest in reading. Now, this was really hard because there are so many new releases coming out, for one. So I narrowed it down to books that I would potentially be interested in. So they're all speculative fiction releases. And all of them, I was like, there's a few that really called out to me that I would definitely want to read or had interesting premises. And I I went through like a whole list of them, and each time I was like, maybe this one is the one I'll use for the tag. I would second guess myself and be like, but the premise actually, like, that could work. That might be interesting. And so in the end, so this is not to say I will never read this book, or um that it falls short of the other ones. It's very particular why I chose this one. Come Up and Served Cold by Marion Deeds. And the reason for this is it's set in the Gilded Era, the 1920s, and I don't really have an interest in books that are set in that time period. It's basically um a mystery novel, which again I like mysteries, but it's a mystery novel plus magic is how it was pitched. Set in an era of a period, historical period that I'm not interested in. So it was a bit like, on balance, not really my thing. So that was the anti TBR tag. I hope you enjoyed it. Anyone who's watching this to the end, thank you. And you're welcome to do this tag as well. Consider yourself tagged. All right, I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.